By special request, 2 episodes of Monty Python's Flying Circus were filmed in Germany. In German. For Germans. To this day, no one knows if the Germans laughed. Eric Idle.
It was translated into German, and we learnt it parrot fashion, which was madness, because, well, it must have sounded like.
Terry Jones.
Then the first thing we had to film was Mike being this Australian talking about a kangaroo's bum. And you suddenly realise not only do you have to do this in German, which he didn't understand, but he also had to do it with an Australian accent.
But there were various problems with
Michael Palin.
Translation. And usually it was because the German didn't have a sort of idiomatic translation. So they would translate quite literally, something that in our case was a kind of slang phrase. So when Eric Idle and I played 2 waiters who are generally sending up these tourists in some Munich beer hall, we had little chants like, we are, one place, oh, can we sit here? Oh, yes, we'd say together. We are something, we are bringing you to the table and sitting you here in Bavaria and scaring the shit out of you, which was sort of thrown in, which sounded okay when we did it sort of in our English translation.
Yeah.
When we actually did it, it was just sort of, there was a kind of air of appalled, shocked disgust from all the sort of technicians around. We later learned that there wasn't really, he had translated it literally as we going to sit you down and cause you to involuntarily excrete on the chair, which is just not the same.
The animations.
The style came out of necessity, nothing more. I had to do something fast and quick, and the only thing I could do was cut out things. Because before, when I'd done the animation, I hadn't done any cutouts. I would draw it, nice frame after frame kind of animation. Well, I didn't have time to do that, so I did this other thing, and it worked. They really liked it because I think it was the crudeness and the outrageousness of that. I was always looking for free things. So you go to the library, there's a lot of dead painters, a lot of dead engravers, we can use that stuff. And then you start playing with it. And in a sense, my art education has come from that. And so that's what happened. Like Whoopee Cushion, I went down to the Tate, and they've got a huge collection of Victorian Christmas cards. So I went through this huge collection of Victorian and got photocopies of things and started cutting out and moving it around. And so it was like, that's the style just developed out of that, as opposed to any planning. It wasn't. There was nothing. Say I must do it this way because it, intellectually is correct, or it's more. I never analyzed this stuff. I just did it because that was the quickest and easiest way, and then I could use images that I really loved.
From We Have Ways of Making You Laugh, you went on to the second series of Do Not Adjust Your Set as the animator as such.
Yeah.
So you were doing one a week for the show, at least.
No, it wasn't that many because I can't remember. I think I only did a couple. I'm really, the Christmas card thing was for Do Not Adjust Your Set. They did a Christmas show, and that's what the Christmas card one was. Whoopee Cushion, was there. There was an elephant thing I did for Do Not Adjust Your Set, and that was the first real stream of consciousness thing, which was what Terry Jones sort of grabbed onto when we started talking about how to do Python, and he always kept referring back to that cartoon because there was this stream of consciousness approach to a thing, and he just moved on, and rather than telling punchlines and things like that. And so Terry kept arguing as we were starting up Python, we've got to have work in that kind of style where things just flow.
But it was this thing about not finishing sketches and just letting them hang loose, or
Terry Jones.
Just saying, "Oh, forget that sketch, doesn't work," or turning it into something else. So it was a real revelation to see that you could break up the format. I mean, up till then, we'd totally been writing in either a sketch format, which would be a 3-minute sketch, which was the beginning, middle, and end, with a punchline, or else you do a quickie, which would be 60-second blackout or 30-second blackout, one build up to one joke. And I suddenly realised we'd been writing these cliches, and Milligan had sort of freed that up. So then the thought of actually linking it, making the whole show like Terry's animated, like the elephants, so it was just a stream of consciousness. and using the animations to get from one to another, or if we wanted to, you didn't have to, you could link them in other ways, but just having a flow of consciousness, that would make the show feel different. And I kind of felt, I was very tense in those days, particularly because I felt this was it. This was our chance to make something really different. And I don't know why, I just had the feeling we wouldn't get this kind of chance again, and it had to be different.
Well, I think there was a serious doubt
John Cleese.
about the feasibility of Terry doing animation. You see, he came to animation quite late. You know the story? My recollection is that Terry had to sit down with one or two BBC people and really convince them that he could do this stuff with the sort of budget that made it possible. And also, he was much less of a known quantity of the others. He was the one who'd not been sitting with the other five at the Frost Report table.
And then I got like David Jason by the second series. I was getting him to do voices on the cartoons because he was, and it must have been the second one. And I don't know, I don't even know the moment when I was accepted. But I mean, Terry talks endlessly of the elephants or whatever it was, cartoon that obviously sparked something. He realized I wasn't just an interloper. And that's what's so funny years later when Douglas Adams was helping Graham write. My attitude was like them. Who is this interloper trying to worm his way into Python?
Is your wife a goer, hey? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Nudge, 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 nudge. Know what I mean? Say no more. Know what I mean?
I beg your pardon?
Your wife, does she go? Hey?
So, yeah, I mean, Nudge Nudge worked largely because it was a sort of conventional setup. And you might have seen people sitting in pubs doing sketches before, but it was just that little extra twist which made it work, a twist on the familiar. But Eric kind of liked those sort of company characters and liked the sort of cheeky characters, and he liked wordplay, very good, and sketches and anagrams and all that sort of thing.
Whoa, okay, now we got 13 to write. And I think we brought in some material. I know I had brought in material because I'd been writing for the Frost, I think the ITV Frost. But anyway, I remember being a writer on that show, and I remember that I'd written Nudge Nudge for that show, or one of the Frosts, for Ronnie Barker, and turned it in, and it came straight back, and I thought, and then if you look at it, there's no jokes on the page. So you see, well, exactly why they turned it back, because and I just read it to the Pythons, and I just remember them falling about laughing and saying, well, that's it.
Look, are you insinuating something?
Oh, yes.
Well?
Well, I mean, you're a man of the world, aren't you? I mean, you've been there, haven't you? I mean, you've been around. Eh?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like you've done it. I mean, like, you slept with a lady.
Yes.
What's it like?
And then this thing called a nudge bar popped up in Australia and flew me at great expense to Australia, where I did this commercial for Nudge Bar. And then they wanted another one the next year because it was very successful, and I said, I'm not going to do any more of these commercials. And John said, I'll do it. And he went and did it as my brother. How weird is that?
How weird is that?
But anything for the money with John.
Well, I wasn't going to say it.
No, but he did. He said, he once told me, this is quite true, he won't deny this. He told me he would do, he once was saying to me, he said, I'll do anything for money. So I offered him £1 to shut up, and he took it.